ColourPop started 2024 with a bang, coming out with multichrome eyeliners. I honestly am so shocked that I'm saying this actually. I really think that this is just the beginning of the multichrome iceberg for ColourPop in 2024. At least I'm really hoping so. I would love to see them come out with some other products or just some special duochrome. So I purchased all the new multichrome liners, or 6 liners, 5 of which are black base multichromes, and the 6th shade is a bit more sheer. I've also tried the Kaleidos, I've also tried Moira and Devinah as well as a JCat, and I do have videos up previously with those. And I will link that down in the description box in case you're interested in that detailed video on those. But today I'm just going to be showing you some comparisons and also talking about the difference in formulations. And of course, I'm also going to be showing you this look in action featuring all the shades. I used all the shades of the liners. I also have them in my waterline. Now, these are $9 each compared to Moira, which are $6 each. The JCat shades are $6.99. The Kaleidos are $16 each, and the Devinah are $22 each. So there is quite a bit of a price spectrum between all the different brands. There's also tons of indie brands that have come out with multichrome liners way before Moira did, before Devinah had. I had multichrome liners like 3 years ago from Sugar Drizzle. There's also been some dual-ended liners. So there's like a black base multichrome on one side and an iridescent on the other, which those are really fun. I do want to mention, I'm not sure if I just have a really sensitive nose, but I could smell these a little bit. They have a little bit of that interesting smell to them. It's not like a plastic smell, so I'm not sure how I feel about that because the JCat shades also have a little bit of a smell, and they actually smell a little bit similar to these. So let's get right into the comparison swatches and then into the 2 applications, and then I'll give you some of my thoughts at the end of the video. First up is Pixie, and that one is pretty different from Solaris from Kaleidos, and then Bronzite from Devinah is much lighter, and so is the shade from JCat. And the JCat shade is just very dull and not very shiny at all. And the shift also is just not as obvious. Next up is Movie Star. I would say Flare is the most similar, but it is a little bit darker base. And then Electra is so sparkly and very light. I prefer these kinds of shades, especially in the waterline. It just adds a little bit more brightness versus the black-based multichromes. They're going to add a little bit more darkness, and actually they might close off your eyes a little bit too much. So I do prefer the lighter multichromes in the waterline. And then Morganite is very pink, but it does have that yellowy orangey shift. Next up is Ventura. There's quite a bit of different tones going on here between all the different brands. I absolutely love Buzz and Zora. They are just so bright and beautiful, and they do not have that black base, so I think they're just a little bit more fun to play around with. JCat is very dull. The ColourPop shades are so pigmented. They're very soft and very creamy, almost wet. One of the previous shades actually swatched a little wet. JCat does continue to disappoint. You can just really see the black base in it, and it's not heavily shifty and not heavily shiny either. And last up is a Wild Idea, and this one is almost identical to Rhea and 7 Seas for sure. And they're very shiny and very shifty. I think the tone is a little bit different between Wild Idea, Rhea, and 7 Seas, but just the tiniest bit. And then Limelight, Emerald, and Glimmer Glow are kind of the most similar. And then of course Ray of Shine is the most different, but I just wanted to show it in here. As well as the shift in between these, you can kind of see the tones just vary ever so slightly from like a teal to like a true blue between some of the shades that I just mentioned that are the most similar straight on. Pat McGrath, I prime with the Pat McGrath eye primer. I did already use one in this waterline and one in this waterline, and I've had this on since 2 p.m. today, and it is 5:38 p.m. So it has been about 3 hours, and it's wearing really nicely, which I'm a little bit surprised, to be honest, because they are so creamy. I honestly just expected them to kind of wear away pretty quickly. So let's see. I'm gonna play around with actually a couple of the shades. So I don't know if that's going to translate, but it looks wet when I open the cap. So, I mean, it definitely makes application easier, but if you have hooded oily lids, it might pose some issues in terms of, does this really set down? So I'm using Ventura Boulevard, and I'm just gonna be creating a wing, just using that. And I think next going in with Actin' Up, gonna put that on the rest of my top lid. Ooh, those are really fun together. And then taking Pixie, and I'm just gonna use that from out here connected to the wing. I'm gonna create like a graphic liner, These are not the thinnest, so definitely the Devinah Samarics are the thinnest. But I did have actually this one break a little bit on me, unfortunately, when I was doing swatches. So you definitely want to make sure that you only twist up as little as possible, just enough for it to not drag on your skin. So I mean, you can see how easily these are gliding, and it looks very, very beautiful. Taking Power Trip on this eye. Now you could put down a black eyeliner and layer these over, but honestly I don't really feel like it's necessary because they do have the black base already in them, with the exception of the peach shade. That one you could totally do that with, but with these I'm not really sure how much it would add. I'm honestly a little surprised that they came out with so many black base shades. I would have loved to have seen some more iridescent shades like the Moira, because I just feel like they're more fun to play with and layer. So that's what that one looks like. And then taking Wild Idea, and I'm gonna just reflect what I did on the other side, but up here, but on this eye. So this one is, I don't see as much of a black base, I think, as this shade that I had put on. So this one might be fun over black, but again, I'm not sure how necessary that is. And then I'm gonna use a Movie Star, which is the iridescent. I'm just gonna pop that on this inner portion of my lid as a little bit of a highlight, and just a little bit under my lower lash line. And I just feel like these kinds of shades where they're a little bit more translucent, they just look so amazing in the waterline. Let me see if I can. So I just did my best wiping it off in this waterline. I'm gonna just show you how much that just like adds a little bit of brightness in there compared to the black base multichromes. Like, it's just a little pop. I feel like the Moira shades are a little bit more sparkly, so they really add like a ton of brightness. So onto just some of my initial thoughts. I just really, really enjoy the Moira shades. I think they have a nicer variety. They have some more sparkly ones. They also have more iridescent shades, which I think are super fun, especially if you want to use these in the waterline. And also the waterline is so small, and I feel like if you put something darker in there, it just kind of blends in with your lashes. You don't really see the shift as much. I mean, in general, you're probably not going to see the shift too much. It's just such a really thin area, but I do think these are fun for some graphic looks. You could probably also use them as eyeshadows if you wanted to. They are super, super creamy. I think that they are the smoothest out of all of these. Whether or not that's a good or bad thing, you know, I think it's kind of give or take depending on what kind of eyelids you have. If you have hooded, oily lids, it might pose an issue. If I touch these, they don't feel wet or sticky. Let me actually try to see if I can like smudge it. Okay, it looks like it's not really smudging, which is really nice. So it looks like they have set, and obviously I put down an eyeshadow primer too, so I'm sure that helped a little bit. I do think these apply the easiest out of all of these, but again, just personal preference, and also the price tag of the Moira shades, I'm just saying. Would love to see ColourPop come out with a bunch more shades that are similar to this one. I have a feeling that we're gonna see ColourPop come into their multichrome duochrome era in 2024. My multichrome senses are tingling, and I think that they probably have something else up their sleeve, whether that's Super Shock shadows that are multichrome duochrome, or also Jelly Much, and also I think they're gonna start putting in even more duochromes, maybe even multichromes, some of their eyeshadow palettes. As for the other brands, I do have dedicated video featuring all of them together, swatching them individually, swatching them together, and also applying them, showing you how they work on the lid. And I would not recommend the JCat shades. I just think they're so subpar, and they're the same price as these. And then also the Devinah Samaric shades, they're so ridiculously expensive for what you get, like absolutely astronomical pricing of those. I don't understand. Yes, I did buy all of them for science, but I would not recommend you waste your money on them unless they're on sale for like half off and they're like $10. Maybe then, because I do think they have a nice range. However, price tag wise, I just don't think that they're worth it at all. The Kaleido shades are really, really amazing. I really hope that they come out with more because I do think they have some really interesting shades. I love the non-multichrome kind of silvery blue as well. And then also that one shade that I forget which one. I think I compared it to this one. It has a really beautiful bright red almost look to it, and it's a very unique shade between all of these. Also, as I mentioned in the beginning, there's like a little bit of a smell to these. It's a little bit of a weird, I don't know if it's, I don't think it's the tube. It doesn't smell like plastic. It almost kind of smells like a warehouse. I don't know if that's just me. Let me know in the comments below if you pick these up and you can smell them. When I swatch them on the back of my hand, I can smell them. I can also smell them if I take the cap off. I don't have to really like breathe in heavily. Like I can smell it like pretty easily when I was applying it, and now that it's on my lids, I don't smell it at all. Like I think that's too far anyway. Just something I wanted to mention. Let me know in the comments below if you're excited to see ColourPop launching some multichromes, and if you enjoyed the video and you found it helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time.